Gary, let's get to the Athletic article from Mike Hoppinger regarding the Canelo Alvarez Gennady Golovkin agreeing to a trilogy fight. Also, with the idea that depending on this pandemic, they could skip Billy Joe Saunders, and the Canelo Triple G fight could be at 168. And DAZN / Golden Boy have given added incentives to the contract for this fight for Canelo Alvarez, and they've both agreed to the financial terms of the deal, and this was reported last week. Gary, obviously, I already talked about it in the video. I want to get your thoughts about this first, and then Santiago's. Thoughts on Canelo Alvarez Triple G3 happening, and it happening in September, seemingly no matter what.
It's a bigger fight for Canelo. It's a big fight for Triple G. It's a bigger fight for the fans. I get it. The first two fights were great, so why wouldn't you do it a third time? So again, I can't. And they said they may do it in Dallas, which would be fantastic.
AT&T Stadium.
Yeah, it's not the fight I want. Again, I can't complain about the fight because the fight makes perfect sense. It's a bigger money fight. I think Triple G is washed at this point. I think his last performance against Canelo was his last great performance, and he lost it. So that's it. I don't think this is going to be any closer. And I think Canelo is at his absolute peak. This is the best Canelo gets, and I think Triple G is deteriorating. So I don't see why. I don't see how he wins the fight. But Canelo, Triple G is obviously a bigger draw than Billy Joe Saunders or Caleb Smith. So it's a bigger money fight. Make the fight. So I can't complain about it. It's just not the fight I want.
Santi, I want to get your thoughts on this. Gary seems pretty pessimistic about the matchup. I'm pretty optimistic about it. I think there's a lot of need for this fight. There's a need to some finality with this saga and this rivalry, as a lot of people think Triple G won both fights. You have people that think Canelo won both fights, and you obviously have the official record being 0-1-1. So Santi, your thoughts on them making this trilogy fight next? And also maybe thoughts on it being a 168, that affecting Triple G in either a positive or negative way.
I think it's the safer option with the most lucrative option for Canelo, really. I know that it kind of backtracks him not wanting anything to do with Triple G after the fact, but I personally thought we might get a package. We get Saunders, we get Triple G, then we get Murata in December for the New Year's Eve, take advantage of that Japanese tradition right there. And, that would be so good right there, just to see all the Mexicans and Japanese just, it's a recipe for a possible riot, depending on how the fight goes, all things considered. But, I'm of the mindset right now that I have the official scores that I did with the live fight chat with you. I had it 8-4 for Triple G the first fight. I had it 8-4 for Canelo the second fight. And right now I'm with Gary that I think we're at a point where Canelo's in his prime. He's barely about to enter his 30s, if not in his 30s, while Triple G age is finally catching up to him. The Derevchenko fight is one that I just cannot overlook and say to myself, nah, Triple G is not gonna get stopped. We saw what Derevchenko did to Triple G. I think at least that he beat Triple G. And so with a guy like Canelo, I can't imagine this being a fight where we don't probably see a very impressive showing by Canelo over Triple G. We saw him do that in the second fight where he took the fight to him, beat him at his own game. And if age is finally going to be the factor, especially with Triple G now becoming injury prone, come on. I would be picking Canelo by stoppage at this point.
Yeah, I see a lot of people picking Canelo by stoppage. I can sort of understand. I think we all thought Derevchenko beat Triple G in that fight. I just don't know whether or not that was due to new trainer, due to maybe underestimating Derevchenko. I don't know. And it's hard because at the same time, we've seen Canelo do things that are quite incredible. Jump up 2 weight divisions and fight Sergey Kovalev and knock him out the way he did. That was a history-making performance. That was a legacy-making performance by Canelo Alvarez. And seems like both guys have been, since the second fight, going in opposite directions in their careers. even though Triple G's sort of sample size post that fight is very limited. I mean, he only has, 2 fights since then?
One's against Steve Rolls, so.
Yeah, and which, in my opinion, just doesn't count. So, yeah, it's hard. It's hard to judge that. But I will say this, in terms of boxing history, we need this. Like, regardless if you think it's the best fight to make right now, because it's not. I mean, a better fight would be a better fight to make right now for Canelo. It would make more sense. Caleb Plant, Benavidez, Callum Smith, Bilal Saunders, those are all better technical fights right now than Triple G. But Triple G is still the history-making rivalry for Canelo Alvarez. When it's all said and done, 50 years from now, when we talk about Canelo's career, we're going to talk about him losing to Floyd Mayweather, bouncing back, having some wins, beating Laura controversially, beating Miguel Cotto, which was a huge passing the torch moment, and then the Triple G saga. And that's going to be a huge part of it, maybe the biggest part of his career. And to not have a real finality to that saga, I think hurts his career, hurts his legacy, in my opinion. It's just, I don't see it. I don't see how it doesn't hurt his legacy if he just doesn't fight Triple G ever again.
Then I want to add one thing, right? Because you kind of convinced me on that, right? Because it's like Pacquiao Marquez. Who was calling for Pacquiao Marquez for? But we needed a finish on it, and we got that. Canelo better knock him out. No more. No, this better be definitive, right? Like like Marquez. Like you could tell Marquez went into that fight, and he wasn't looking to outpoint him. Marquez was looking to stop Pacquiao. So I want Triple G to do that. Go out there. This fight better end in a knockout. Like, don't leave this to the judges. You didn't like the way the judges handled the first two? If you're Triple G, don't leave it in the judges' hands. Go finish it yourself. Go finish this. So, right, it needs an end, right? Like Pacquiao, Marquez, we got an end. We need an end to this. So, in that way, then I'm better with the fight. But
it needs a last chapter.
Yeah,
it's a book that's unfinished. It's a movie that's missing its final act. It just is, and we need that. And there are certain fighters have gone around that in time and in history, and not really finished a rivalry out, and still progressed and fought other names, and that still have a great legacy and Hall of Fame career. But
Alex Castillo comes to mind, a fight that was scheduled to be a trilogy and got canceled, and we never got it.
There's tons of those. But this is one of those I fall back on. Like, when we talk about this era, this is one of the key fights and key sagas, key rivalries we talk about. We talk about the heavyweight, rebirth, the heavyweight renaissance with Joshua, Fury, and Wilder, and what they brought to the table in the 2010s. We're going to talk about Canelo Alvarez and how he held down the sport as a pay-per-view draw in the North American market post Pacquiao and Mayweather, and fought Miguel Cotto, fought that era, and then proceeded to go up in weight class and fight other great fighters. That's just going to be a huge footnote in the boxing history book at some point. And to be scoffing at, like, oh, we don't need it. Like, Triple G's old now. I feel like we're so almost ungrateful for how great those two fights are. Like, I mean, if for those that maybe don't want to see a third fight again, go back and watch those two fights. I mean, that first fight is etched in my memory, maybe because I was there live for it, and it was a great work experience for me as well. And plus the open bar and the VIP section, amazing. But that fight is just etched in my memory forever. The crowd, the atmosphere, the noises, the moments in the fight, like it is just etched in my memory. And I need personally some finality to this trilogy. I can't go on and saying that Canelo won both fights still when there's people out there saying that Triple G won both fights. I can't do that for my reputation. I just can't do it. Moving on, though, we're going to talk about some bad news, unless anyone else has anything else to say about Canelo Triple G. Nope. Speaking of big fighters and big fights, Anthony Joshua's return is maybe postponed. Kubrat Pulev reporting to Bulgarian media This is by way of Michael Benson. The Anthony Joshua fight will be postponed for a couple months due to the coronavirus pandemic. However, Eddie Hearns stated earlier today that the bout was still set for the original date on June 20th as things stand. This is going to be like obviously a reoccurring theme on shows and videos we do, but the projections on how this coronavirus is going to end up in the US and the UK, I don't think we're going to have sports for a while. So I expect this one to be postponed for some time, ladies and gentlemen. And do you guys have any thoughts on that, or do you want me just to run through the rest of the news?
Yeah, you could just run through it.
Okay. Also, by way of Michael Benson, Frank Warren has said he likes to bring Demetrius Andrade versus Liam Williams to the UK. Purse bids for the Order WO middleweight title fight were supposed to be this week, but have been put back due to the coronavirus pandemic, by way of Talk Sport. Also, by way of Michael Benson, Eddie Hearns has revealed they are very close, quote, to make the Josh Warrington versus Can Zhu or Zhushan fight next. Hearns said Zhu will be upgraded to super champion, so the fight would be a WBA and IBF featherweight world title unification. Frank Warren announcing that terms are agreed for the Frampton Jamar Herring fight. News on date and venue to come soon, if they ever come. Speaking of Frank Warren, they also rescheduled the Dubois Joyce fight from April to July. Alejandro Jimenez was stripped of her WBO belt, and Franchon Cruz Dezern was reinstated as champion. The WBC have yet to do that, and I think they're not going to do that, as far as I know. And in sad news to report, Roger Mayweather passed away. I think it was 2 days ago. I forget exactly. March 17th. What's the date today? 3 days ago. So rest in peace to Roger Mayweather. And condolences to the Mayweather family and all the loved ones that are affected by this. What else do we have here? UCAD, speaking of anti-doping regulation, they're not going to really do much as this whole pandemic is happening. They say significant reduction in testing program. And if you want boxing, guys, don't worry. The April 5th card in Japan will be streamed on YouTube, as the commission has finally okayed it with special regulation and control. So, guys, we finally get boxing back in our lives. It's going to be a small Japanese card, April 5th, live streamed on YouTube. Shout out to the guys at AsianBoxing.com. Follow them if you want to stay updated on that piece of information. Guys, Gary, Santiago, any thoughts on any of these news items in the boxing world today?
All this stuff is like good, like they're rescheduling the fights, but this is all like, are they being rescheduled to be rescheduled to be rescheduled? I don't know. I mean, let's just see how it goes. We knew this was coming. I don't know how long this is going to be. So it's good news that they're rescheduling it, but like, take it all with a grain of salt. I don't know what it's really all worth.
Any thoughts about, before Santi talks, any thoughts about Alejandro Jimenez being officially stripped and then Franchon Dezern being reinstated as champion by the WBO, but the WBC not doing that?
It's weird, right?
When the WBC has the clean boxing program, has been the ones that have been, moving the goalposts for PD regulation, the sport. They're not actually taking a hardline stance on this. Shocking.
It's bizarre.
It's a very boxing story right there. Any thoughts about Roger Mayweather passing away?
Yeah, I mean that's a shame. A really good fighter in his day. People forget that because how great Floyd turned out. But Roger was really good, and then obviously a really good trainer too, and just an entertaining person altogether. Like just an entertaining character, and he'll be missed.
Santiago, any thoughts on the news?
If I'm being honest with you, man, this makes me think of Andy Ruiz's post with like, announcement coming soon. And I'm like, this is just an announcement for them to basically tell us, oh, this is postponed due to coronavirus. And I'm just like, I can't take you guys seriously because honestly, like people are projecting this to be 18 months. Moving forward, Dana White's, fighting his ass off to try and still host UFC, Khabib Ferguson. And that man's just trying to set precedent right there, man. It's like, fuck the pandemic. give me money, you know, whatever his hardline stance may be. And then, rest in peace to Roger Mayweather, the Black Mamba, a very great fighter in his own right, 2-division world champion. He literally went out to greener pastures, passing away St. Patrick's Day. So he leaves behind an incredible legacy as a trainer, as a fighter. Floyd Mayweather, and to your family, I hope that you guys are, holding strong during these times that we're currently dealing with all together, and wish you nothing but the best.
I want to say also that one of Floyd Mayweather's baby mothers also was tragically
Josie Harris,
tragically died or was maybe killed. I don't want to speak out of turn here, as well recently. So just a tough time for the Mayweather family on the whole. You guys know I'm not the biggest Mayweather fan, but hey, anyone going through a tragic loss, you still feel for them. You still be empathetic towards them, even if they may not be the best of person. And quickly before we jump out of here, everyone in the chat that's like concerned or confused about me picking Canelo, or me thinking that Canelo won both fights with Triple G, guys, I've admitted I'm a Canelo fanboy, like on many shows. Okay, Rob is a Matchroom fanboy at heart, but he, will stand all of the UK. Gary's obviously all of Texas. We know this, and just random fighters in other areas, but mainly Texas. And then me, I'm just Canelo. And then like maybe back in the day Crawford, but he hasn't done anything at welterweight lately, so I can't really be a fanboy for Crawford. He's not helping me out. But Canelo, fuck yeah, I'm a fanboy for Canelo. We all know this.
I'll add to that. I scored both fights for Canelo as well. I'm not a Canelo. I mean, I don't dislike Canelo. I'm just like Canelo. I don't cheer for him or against him, and I scored both fights for Canelo. 8-4 the first one and 7-5 the second one. So I actually had the second one closer than the first one.
Yeah, no, I was never the biggest fan of Canelo. There was a lot of misconceptions that I was because I was Hispanic, so everyone just automatically assumed I was Mexican and on the bandwagon. But Matt knows for sure that I have never been the biggest fan, and it wasn't until he started taking these fights that I started appreciating him and not giving him so much flack over the way his career trajectory has been.
Rob in the chat reminded me, Teofimo Lopez for sure. After that Comey fight, I mean, how can I not fanboy out for Teofimo Lopez? Scott Brown, Luis Ortiz fanboy? No, I just highly respect his ability. I mean,
Luis Ortiz or Brazil, who you got?
I think this is the guy. I think this is the guy that said he would pick Dominic Brazil and Charles Martin to beat Luis Ortiz, which I find utterly ridiculous. But hey, that's fine, man. Like, we can all have our opinions, just some are worse than others.
I completely abhor Dominic Brazil, and I don't know how anyone can really, really be serious about Brazil beating Ortiz. I mean, this is a man whose sole weapon in his fights is his size, and even that he doesn't know how to use right. Okay? No. Okay. People called me crazy when I told them that Anthony Joshua was going to beat the living crap out of Dominic Brazil. They're like, come on, man. What about that Amir Mansour win where he broke his jaw and came back? It's like, that doesn't mean nothing.
Mansour won every round and bit his tongue off in the corner, and that's why they stopped the fight.
Bit his tongue off?
Go look it up. Like, they thought it was a broken jaw. He bit his tongue off, and he's like, I can't fight. I bit my tongue off. Mansour, he lost every round in that fight. Yeah, he got the stoppage because Mansour, they had to stop it in the corner. But, like, come on. And Mansour was at least 42, 43 at that time.
Yo, you remember on Name Redacted, that one caller that was like the biggest Amir Mansour fan?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, man. Oh, my God. No, Don Brazil gets outclassed by Luis Ortiz. Like, sorry, guys. Like that. You aren't going to fool me on this one. I can find clips of your favorite promoter saying that Luis Ortiz is a boogeyman. Trust me. All of you Matchroom and UK fans that hate Luis Ortiz, I can find clips right now of Eddie Hearns saying that Luis Ortiz is the boogeyman.
You want to say Ortiz is old and he's maybe not as good as he once was? Okay, fine. He's not that washed up. He ain't losing to Brazil.
Oh, my God.
Nah, man. All Brazil's going to be for Luis Ortiz is one very wide punching bag.
Oh, my God. So good. Tell PBC to make Brazil versus Ortiz. They're trying to make Andy Ruiz versus Luis Ortiz. But Andy doesn't want that smoke. He wants to fight Chris Arreola. Dude, Luis Ortiz signed on to match him to fight AJ. And AJ was like, no, I'm good. Eddie, make him fight the Malik Scotts and the Dave Allens of the world, please. And fight out his contract and then don't re-sign him. Please. I don't want that smoke at all. Get out of here. Get out of here. Stop. Oh, man. Any other thoughts, guys, before we head out of here? I think this is going to be our last show for a bit. Probably till next week. Though, me and Anthony Walker will be doing a podcast, not a YouTube show per se, because we'll be playing music, but it'll be a music podcast. We don't have a name yet for it, but we're thinking of cool names for it. And we will be breaking that down for you guys whenever we get to you about that. But digressing, you guys can find me at Matt Hunter MCR on all social media platforms. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe, all that fun stuff. You know what to do. You watch on YouTube. Like if you're watching this on YouTube, you probably watch tons of stuff on YouTube. You know how to support us. Leave a comment down below with your top 20 heavyweights in the world as well. What else? Also, in this time where we could be doing a lot of content that's not boxing, it might not end up on this channel. What channel it will end up on is Trending Now Network. So go over and subscribe to that channel as well, guys. Gary, first, let's go to Santiago, our guest contributor on this show. Santiago, where can people find you if they want to find you on social media?
You can find me on Facebook at SANT731, Twitter at SANT732. I sold what was left of my soul to use Twitter. Pleasure to be back on here as always. Maybe I'll do more content with you guys with these crazy times. You know, obviously, you know that as a history buff, I will be down for anything history related, scoring related. And yeah, I hope everybody that's been listening in has enjoyed the show today and enjoyed the little boxing fix, considering everything that's been going on lately.
Gary, before you jump in, someone in the chat saying Virgil Ortiz versus Aaron Pryor.
Pryor is the best 140 pounder ever. Fortunately for him, Virgil Ortiz is at 147 now, so he wouldn't have to worry about that smoke.
Gary, where can people find you?
Aaron Pryor was greatness. Find me all forms of social media at 3D Boxing, 3D Boxing blog. It was good catching up with you. I don't know when we'll be back. Hopefully not too long. Hopefully some news breaks.
Well, whenever we come up with a topic and then do whatever work we need to do for the topic, we can do a show. So yeah, I think you said you had a topic in mind.
Yeah.
I remember I sent a huge list of topics we could do as well and videos we could do as well. So there's content we're going to be making, guys. So don't worry. I know in this rough time out there, I know the entire state of California just went on lockdown unless you have to move and do something. So very rough times here. Italy is not handling it well from what all the reports are saying. So stay safe out there, guys. Wash your hands. Use hand sanitizer. Don't go and buy all the toilet paper. Don't be an asshole in these times, please. But Gary,
no pun intended. Don't be an asshole. Don't buy all the toilet paper.
No pun intended. That is true.
Again, find me all on social media, 3D Boxing, 3D Boxing blog. From Texas to the world, thank you. God bless.
Peace.